Lord, please hear my heart. Hello. How's everybody doing? I'll let that play a second while I share this live. Welcome, everyone, as you're coming in. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for joining. I will do anything just to see you, to behold you as my king. For your glory, I will do anything just to see you, to behold you as my king. Lord, if I find favor. How's it going, Miss Toya? How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Chandra?
I am awesome and amazing. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much. Hello. Let me try to get some glasses on. How's it going on today? So again, Toya, thank you so much for joining me on today for my candid conversation. It is such an honor and joy to have you on today, this Tuesday. You could have been anywhere else, so we thank you. I'm going to wait a second and let some people come on. But okay, as you're coming on, let us know where it is that you're coming on from. Let us know where you're coming in from. But thank you again so much for joining me on this day, this conversation. But I'm so excited. And honored to have you here with me on today. How has your day been, Miss Toya Richmond Spencer?
Always been good, between virtual learning and remote learning. Remote working. It is to be expected. It's kind of hectic, but I'm getting used to it.
You getting used to it?
I'm getting used to it.
Or have you really gotten used to it? Can you say? Have you really gotten used to it though?
Well, the working from home, yes. The virtual learning, not so much. Because I'm the cafeteria lady, the PE teacher, the math teacher, and the science teacher, all in and working, all in one.
All of that and then some, right?
And then some, yeah. And then some for 2 kids, not just 1, 2.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
you got 2 at home.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow! Well, again, thank you. My name, if you don't know me, my name is Chandra Jones Williams, and I am CEO and founder of Chandra Speaks. Honored and a pleasure to have with me on my candid conversation, Dr. Toya Spencer. I'm going to tell you, Miss Dr. Toya Spencer is an inspirational speaker, teacher, prophetic intercessor, author, and a breast cancer survivor. Yay. Dr. Toya specializes in assisting women in accepting and embracing their past flaws, imperfections, and pushing them into their destinies. She's a native of Memphis. So
yes, I'm Memphis.
You from the great M-Town. We're grateful for that.
M-Town. Come on.
She is the creator and founder of Beautifully Flawed. Did I say that right?
You said it right. It's Beautifully Flawed.
Okay, awesome. An annual event that empowers women and launches them into walking into healing and purpose. So I tell you what, she has so much more. I'm not going to go into all of her bio on today because you will be looking her up after today so you can know Toya fully, because you're going to want to know her. After today, you definitely will want to know her because her story truly is inspiring. And so my purpose for having these conversations, if you have been following me, then you know that my father is a breast cancer survivor. So breast
Mm-hmm.
cancer is very near and dear to me. And so to bring awareness is so important because early detection is definitely key. And so
Mm-hmm.
if someone's story can truly impact you, then we have done exactly what God is pleased with us to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to dive right on in. I'm going to do just that. But I want to start, Toya, and just, where do we start? Where do we start?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you just start and just tell me how and when all of this started, the detection? When did all of this start? And how did it
So,
all start for you?
okay, so I was diagnosed in March 2014.
Okay.
But before then, I was actually I didn't find a lump. I was under the age of 40. Um, so, but what really alarmed me was a dream. I had a dream a few months before I got diagnosed. So in that dream, I was sitting in the doctor's office, and the doctor told me, "You have cancer." This was in my dream.
In your
And
dream.
in my dream, so I remember asking the doctor, "Hey, what stage?" And he said stage 2. And then I woke up. So, immediately when you get a dream like that, what you start doing, you start rebuking the enemy because you thinking the dream is from the enemy. So I just immediately start rebuking the enemy, start praying against it. And then I went back to sleep. I didn't think, I just thought it was from the enemy trying to scare me, right?
Right.
With his tactics. So a few months after that, I had the dream again. And it was much more vivid this time. And so I was like, this time I woke up, my heart was palpitating. I'm like, why am I having that? I know the difference between when it's a God dream and it's just a dream, right?
Right.
So this is the second time. So it had to be a message from God. So I was like, I fell on the floor and I said, God, what is this dream? Why is this, why am I having this dream? And he said, it's going to be for my glory. So I was like, but God, I can't, what people with cancer look like? People with cancer, lose their hair. I can't lose my hair. And at the time, my hair was long. And I was like, Lord, I can't lose my hair. I'm too cute for that, right? So I'm debating on the floor with God. I know I'm not by myself. Anybody else has to debate with God. You always have that debate with God. I'm sitting on the floor debating with God, like, I don't want to go through cancer. I don't want this. I don't want that. So even after that dream, even after the conversation with God, it took me 2 more months to even go get tested because I'm still in denial. I still don't want to believe that this dream is from God. So when I actually go to the doctor, well, first of all, I had like slight pain, no, nothing major. Most women when they go through their monthlies, their breasts get tender, they have a slight pain. So I really thought it was just that, because
Right.
my
Right.
monthlies, I was having breast pains and be tender and things like that. So I never thought about it. So I never found a lump, even with me checking, I never found a lump. So finally, I just went like I had the dream probably in October, November. So finally, in February of 2014, around my birthday, I decided to go to my primary care physician because this dream is still in the back of my head.
Right.
So when I went to the primary care physician, I explained to him and told him that, I was having slight pains in my right breast. It was a bit sore, and I just wanted him to check it out. So he checked me. He proceeded to check me, and he asked me, like, where was the pain? Is it bothersome? I said, no, it's not really bothersome. It's just noticeable every now and then. It's not something that's ongoing. So
Right.
he's like, well, he checked me. He was like, well, I don't feel anything. And if it was cancer, it just would not hurt. So I was like, okay, but I'm thinking still in this dream, I'm like, okay, I still having this dream. So he was like, well, I don't think it's nothing wrong with you. I don't think it's cancer. I think you just, I just think you're just overreacting right now, Miss Spencer. And, just give it about 3 months and then come back. And then I looked at him like, I don't want to give it 3 months. Like, can you just send me on to get the diagnostic mammogram?
Right.
So when I looked at him, he said, okay, if it makes you feel any better, I will send you to get a diagnostic mammogram. But I guarantee you it's nothing, because cancer just doesn't hurt. So the next week I went to Baptist and got my mammogram. And I was there for 4 hours getting a basic mammogram, well, diagnostic mammogram. They took so many different pictures. And then they did the ultrasound. And then I'm looking like everybody's leaving. Like I was the first person to get there, but the last person in the waiting room. So I was like, okay, I know I was here before her. I know I was here before her. Why am I still sitting here? So then the nurse came and she said, Miss Spencer, the doctor wants to see you. And I was like, okay, why the doctor wants to see me? And then they told my mom was with me too. So they told my mom to come with me. It's like, is that your mom sitting out there? Well, let's bring her on with you. So we go back there and I see a picture of my right breast and my left breast. And, the radiologist introduces herself and she says, this is a picture of your right breast. This is a picture of your left breast. Do you see the difference? And in my right breast, it was a big white ball on the lower quadrant of my breast. And she said, I don't know who or what brought you in here, but it had to be God, because you would have never found that lump until it was too late, because it was embedded in my tissue in the lower quadrant of my breast.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep.
So your doctor tells you it's no way, because cancer just doesn't hurt.
This cancer just
Found
doesn't hurt.
no lumps.
Mm-hmm. No lumps. I didn't have any. I mean, like I told you, I just had a little slight pain. Nothing bothersome. Nothing.
Was now describe the pain. What, in case someone describe that pain.
The pain was it was like a shooting pain every now and then, or like a throbbing pain, like a
Was it
throbbing
in
pain
your breast? So it was in your breast. Okay.
I'm sorry, my phone's ringing. In my right breast, and it was just throbbing every now and then. It wasn't bothersome. It's just like slight pain.
Wow. And so that's why when you went to your doctor, and it amazes me how that's why you got to make sure that you follow through even with what the first doctor says. And I'm glad that you were persistent. And that God did show you in a dream, because I'm amazed, and I gotta say this at this point, that you do know your life has much purpose, right? You know this, that your life has much purpose, especially the way that you went through this whole experience. I mean, that's like a mind-blowing experience. And so when they came back though and told you, we talk about that C word.
Yeah.
How did you feel? What was your response?
So sitting in the radiologist's office, and she telling me that, we are 99% sure that this is cancer. So when that happened, it's like everything just ceased. Everything stopped, because that dream has just came to pass. And she still was talking. Yet I was just in like one of these like days. And then you know how we used to look at Charlie Brown and the teacher used to talk. That's how that lady was talking. My mama had to snap me out of it. She was like, Toya, did you hear what she said? And I was like, yeah, I heard what she said, but it was like a shock. Like, God, you really showed me this in the dream. And then it came to pass like that fast. Like it just was like, so God, I'm really somebody to you. You know what I'm saying? That was like the shock to me. Like, God, you really love me because you told me what the enemy had planned for me. You see, and if I didn't act on what God had told me, right now, it could have been a whole different situation.
Right. Right. Had you gone off of so when you heard were you angry at God? Were you ever angry at
I
God?
was,
You
I
were.
was,
Okay. Now walk
yeah.
me through that. So why were you angry at God?
So even if, I mean, even when God had warned me, about the cancer, I'm still thinking like, okay, God, you doing something miraculous. You finna astound the doctors. You finna do this and you finna do this. Like, I'm just telling God what you finna do for me. How you gonna make this a testimony? How this is gonna be for your glory. So I'm making my own testimony up, right? So I'm walking in to the doctor's office. I'm telling the doctors what my God can do, what my God getting ready to do, and I'm just being real mad and being real, defiant, because I was upset because at that moment, I had two kids that was 4 and 5, and my oldest daughter was 17, getting ready to graduate high school.
That's cool.
So I was like, and immediately when you hear cancer, even though God said it was for my glory, you associate it with death.
Mm-hmm.
You immediately think that you're going to die. So that's when you get upset, even though, because you don't know how God's going to plan this out, even though God warned
Right.
me about it. So
Right.
the middle part, the faith walk is when you get upset because you don't know how you're going to walk this thing out.
So woman of faith you are,
Mm-hmm.
uh believing God with all of your heart, but yet the flesh, you're scared, you
Mm-hmm.
got all these thoughts going on. And
Mm-hmm.
then tell us 2 weeks later what happened with your kids.
So 2 weeks later, I knew something was going on with my kids that were different anyway. So they were going through different testing with TEIS. That is a program with the Tennessee Early Intervention Systems, where they help kids, with developmental milestones, help them get better milestones. So I knew something was going on, but I didn't know to the extent of what was going on. So 2 weeks later, I took my kids to the bowling center downtown, bowling center on Jefferson to get evaluated. So when I got them evaluated, they got the diagnosis. My son got the diagnosis of autism, and then my middle baby got the diagnosis of developmental coordination disorder. So I'm like, okay, God, you pointing on thick now. Really? Like, I just got diagnosed with cancer, stage 2, triple negative. And now I'm getting a diagnosis for my kids of autism and developmental coordination disorder. Like how much more can you put on me? Like this, and that really made me get upset even more. You see, even though I'm a woman of faith, I believe God, but my flesh was hurting. So at that time, when my flesh is hurting, you know, my faith is waving. That's why you always ask God, God, help that unbelief, help the part of me that does not want to believe in
Exactly.
your word. So that's when the enemy be pulling on that unbelief because things starting to happen. So like, see, I
Exactly.
told you God ain't this. I told you God didn't love you. I told you God. This is when
And
this
he
side right
comes
here get to
thick, doesn't
talking.
it?
Yeah, he come thick.
He come
So
thick with it.
he come thick with it. So that's when you get upset, things start not adding up, and you question if you really, if there is God, and then you go back to the word, and then there's your reassurance that God is with you. Then God bring everything back to your remembrance, what he said to you. The Holy Spirit comforts you and give you words of wisdom, send you people your way, even if you don't want to talk to them. He send you people, he send you your angels just to encourage you.
And I'm glad you spoke on that because I thank you for your transparency because I think people have to know that life is going to happen and suffering is a part of life. And what I have
Mm-hmm.
learned about God allows us to go through the suffering, but it also draws us closer to him. And
Mm-hmm.
so, as being a woman of faith, I'm so grateful that and thankful that you shared your exact feelings because
Mm-hmm.
someone out there needs to understand that no one said anything was going to be easy. And so that you walked us through the exact process from the time that you heard it all the
Mm-hmm.
way up to you went through mixed feelings. I'm mad at God, I'm, and I think maybe you sometimes don't know what to think, but the
Right.
beautiful thing is that you feel and that
Right.
you're able to sort through your feelings, because a lot of times people don't understand it's okay to feel and it's okay to not be okay. But
Mm-hmm.
courage to acknowledge, God, I feel this way,
Mm-hmm.
why this or why that, and put it out there and then allow him to respond back to you. But you got
Back
to
to
be
you.
still
Mm-hmm.
enough to hear
Career.
what it is
Mm-hmm.
that he's saying to you. And so I'm so glad that you really tapped on that, because you are human, you do
Mm-hmm.
have a flesh, and I'm so glad that you explained all of that in the manner that you did, because that had to be hard.
Mm-hmm.
First, you find out that you have triple negative breast cancer, and I'll
Mm-hmm.
let you touch on that in a second. Now, that was one thing. And then 2 weeks later, now my kids,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm sure that that right there alone was a double. Like, did you go through your mind is how I'm going to do this? Did you have a lot of different thoughts? And then let me ask you this: what kind of support did you have during this time? Because I know that that's important.
That is very important. But I want to go back to where you said that when you say you ask God why. So many people get into the notion that you cannot ask God why. And that's
Mm-hmm.
not valid, because you want to know. God wants to be, he said, I first call you friend. So if
Mm-hmm.
he wants to be your friend, you ask your friend why you don't think you can ask God why. And he
Mm-hmm.
will respond and tell you, just like I was saying, why God, why am I going through cancer? Why am I going through this? He said, it's going to be for my glory. And anything that he's going to respond to you, it's going to be in his word. Even if you don't know it, he can say it and then you'll go and find it in his word.
Right.
So going back to the question that you asked me with the support, my cousins in the beginning, I had my cousins, I had my aunties when I first found out, they all came and rallied around me. My cousin actually started going forth and finding me support people. One lady, at that time, I didn't want to talk to anybody. I was still set in denial. So I was, I was very rude, and I was very in my feelings. Now I'm still a woman of faith, but I'm still in my feelings. I'm still in my flesh, because I was hurting, and I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want people to. One thing, I didn't want people to have pity on me. That was pride talking though. I didn't want people to have pity on me. So I didn't want people like, oh, you poor thing. Oh, did it? No, I didn't want all that. So when they was calling me, I was rude to them. I was like, I don't want to talk to you. Thank you for calling, but don't call back again. Thank you. So one lady, which is a very good friend of yours and became a very good friend of mine, she, she was very persistent, and she was very, she was very nice. Eve, I was very rude to her. She'll tell you. She'll tell you. She'll say, Toya, you was mean. I didn't want to talk to her. I didn't have no questions for her. I let her talk. And I was like, she's like, you have any questions? I was like, no. Like, well, if you have any questions, you can give me a call, just feel free, I'm here for you. Like, and feel what you feel. I understand. I really understand. And she was just that understanding. So when I actually started going through the process, she became a very good support person, a very good friend of mine. She pushed me even when the dark days when you're not feeling well, you're rolling around with these chemo headaches, and you're feeling like you're gonna puke your guts up. But when you have somebody that's always supporting you and always encouraging you, I had my parents. My mom would go to every chemo session with me and sit there for 4 hours, because I was in the chemo room for 4 hours each every 3 weeks. Every 3 weeks I went to chemo. Started out as 8 rounds of chemo, but then the doctor cut it in half and up my doses of chemo. So I started off with 8, ended up with 4 rounds of chemo. Lost all my hair. I lost all my hair on Mother's Day.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I remember that because it was Mother's Day. My hair started coming out. It was just coming out in clumps, and I was just crying because you looking at your hair and you just it's just sitting on top of your head. It's not even in the pores. It's just sitting on top of your head. It's just looking like a ball of yarn, and you could just take it and just do like that. So it was Mother's Day 2014. My hair was coming out, and I was just crying. And Stephanie and my mom, she gave me my first Pandora bracelet that had the breast cancer ribbon on there and everything. I just cried. But my mom was really a good support person. After chemo, I would stay at her house. They would help me take care of my parents would help me take care of my kids while I was sick.
Wow. Yeah.
Yep. So even when I didn't want to eat, they would make sure I ate, because you didn't have an appetite. You didn't have anything. You just wanted to sleep.
Right.
So, yeah. So my parents was there for me. Stephanie was there for me. My church at the time was there for me. People that was there, they would always rally around me.
Well, wow. So support is really good, but I want to go back. And let's talk about this bad attitude that you had.
Oh, Sean, we want to keep that in the past. Everybody don't need to know
that. No. And I say that
now.
because, if you join me on my first with my father, and I got to touch that because anybody that may deal with someone that is experiencing that, you have to not take it personal. So I want to talk about that so that it's out there so that, you have to really be strong and understand it's not about you, because from what you just described, it was just, you didn't know what to feel. Right. And so you had to have God's angels right there protecting you when you fail to be able to pick you back up. And so I want to speak to anybody that experiences or is going through with someone with breast cancer, because I talked about that in the initial with my father, that you got to take you out of the equation and really understand that it's not about you, because you may get they may snap at you. See, Stephanie understood because she had been through it. And so, I'm sure you can laugh at it now. That's why, I can talk about you and that nasty attitude you had. You had a nasty attitude. So, I mean, we can talk about it, but we also can praise God for it too, because you were just expressing. But the awareness to anybody that has to deal with that, that's who I want to speak to right now, is to anybody who's having to deal with that. Take you out of the equation and just allow them to express, just, speak in love, speak with positivity. Absolutely. And just understand it's not about you, because y'all will be laughing at, because you and Steph laugh about this now, but you wasn't laughing then. She was understanding, but you was just but you know what you're doing? You're letting all of this out. You're releasing it. You're releasing all of this out. But what I know about God, he allows the people that can catch what it is that you need to release. And so we're grateful for the angels that he truly allowed in your space and in your life at the time, to help you through this whole journey, because it does take that. Like, you can't be somebody, what you going off on me for? No, you just need to let them release it. Take you out of the equation and just say,
that's what I even did my doctor the same way. I hung the phone up in her face. I just like, I don't want to talk to you either. I know. I mean, I didn't repent it. So,
that right there, and I can see you now. Oh my God, I can literally see you now. And so, I mean, I had to touch on that part though, because somebody needs to hear that. And so when we talk about this whole journey, it's a candid conversation. It is. For that reason, because people need to know, what to expect, what it looks like, and it doesn't always look pretty. Okay. And so, but you got to understand what's behind what's not looking pretty, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if anybody's out there and you are having to go through that journey with anybody, just give them grace and be patient and understand and take you out of the equation and just love on
Mm-hmm.
them and be positive as possible that you can. You know, so I'm glad that you talked about that support. So now let's talk about the triple negative cancer. um,
Okay.
and tell me about exactly what is triple negative cancer, because you were diagnosed with triple negative cancer. So tell me about what triple negative cancer is.
So triple negative breast cancer means that the cancer is not reactive to any of your hormones.
Okay.
So that means it's just going to grow. I mean, it doesn't act whether you taking any kind of hormone supplements or anything. It's just growing.
Right.
So, because some cancers are reactive to hormones, that makes them grow. They feed on hormones, so it makes it grow. So, but mine was not receptive to any hormones. It had a small, it had a small receptive to it, but the doctor said it was so small that it wouldn't matter. So that's why they diagnosed me with triple negative breast cancer.
Wow. And it amazes me because I'm hearing all these different
Mm-hmm.
diagnosis of, you know, breast cancer like yours could not have been found. So we know God's grace and mercy. You
Mm-hmm.
got purpose, honey. You got purpose. And so we know that because your doctor told you, had they not found it when they did. And then the
Mm-hmm.
funny thing is, if you had not gone, God didn't show
Mm-hmm.
you the dream. Wow.
Wow, it was just be a totally different story right now. Yeah, even
But you
the
know what?
doctor said that.
I'm also grateful too, because one of the things is when you have faith, and no matter if you have the foundation of Him in your life, and you
Mm-hmm.
really have the faith just the
The
size of
mustard
a
seed.
mustard seed,
Mm-hmm.
it will sustain you.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can get off track, but you're gonna come back, because it's like, God, I'm crying,
Mm-hmm.
but God,
But God.
but you're gonna still, but God. It's okay to feel. It's
Mm-hmm.
okay to cry. It's
Mm-hmm.
okay to yell. And so I'm so grateful that you did know Him and have
Mm-hmm.
Him in your life, and that you did allow Him to show you what was to come ahead, because He prepared you for
Absolutely.
exactly what you went through. But
Mm-hmm.
you was in denial for quite a
I was in
while.
a denial. Yeah, I was in denial for quite a while. I think I was,
So
but I
now,
still had,
go
I
ahead, go
still
ahead.
had that, I still had that dream that was sitting in the back of my head because a God dream. That's why I always call it a God dream, a dream from God. It never goes away. It's always in the back of your mind. It's always in your psyche. You always see it. So that means you're gonna have to act on it because you always see it. So it's always like in the back of my mind, it's sitting there like, remember that dream that you just had, So that dream you just had is constantly a reminder in your head. You're gonna act on it because you're gonna get tired of seeing it.
Yeah. Your story is so powerful. I mean, it is. It's so powerful, and there's so many different dynamics
Mhm.
uh, that make up your story. And so I want to ask you about when the hair started falling off, because you know, as women, women are vain. You
Mm-hmm.
think your hair makes you, for real.
Mm-hmm.
You got your hair cut off, right? Did you cut it all off?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So walk me through that, and how was it courageous? Were you scared? Did you have mixed feelings? Because you
I
lost
was,
your hair. You
yeah,
lost your pride and joy.
I, I lost my pride, my glory. As some people say, as some men say, that's your glory. That's your glory. I lost it. So when it started coming out, I would wear ball caps. I would wear my ball caps, and I still would have the little hair like I was still holding on to
So
it.
you was
So
trying to hold on to
I
your
was
hair as
holding
long
on
as you
to it. So
could.
I was holding on. I put my ball cap on. I would have my look because I had a bob. So I still so I still would have my little hair coming down here. So when I take it off, hair comes off with it. So I just said, forget it. So one day I had a friend of mine over there, and I said, just cut it off. Just cut it off. Just start cutting. And while she was cutting it, I was just crying, because I didn't know what I was going to look like bald. So for a long time, I would not look in the mirror. I would have a cap on, a turban on, a wrap on my head, something, and I wouldn't look at myself in the mirror because I didn't want to see myself bald. So one day, I think it was my daughter's graduation. I already had my wig set up and everything. I already had 3 of them sitting there. So I just grabbed it and I put it on. I didn't look at the mirror. So I just grabbed and put it on. So my daughter was graduating that day, and I had my turban on and everything. I was putting my makeup on. And so I said, I wonder what I look like. So I just snatched it off. So when I snatched it out and looked at it, I was like, I'm kind of cute, bald. So so I started like snapping, we do selfies. So I started doing my selfies and I sent it to my cousin. And when I sent it to my cousin, I didn't want her to post it. Like I sent it to her so I could show her that I finally accepted that I'm bald,
Wow.
like, yeah. So when I sent it to her, she like blasted it on Facebook. Like I was like, I didn't want everybody to see that. So it was like, look at my cousin. She's so brave and she's so beautiful. She's this and that. And I just bawled and started crying then because it just helped me out with my self-esteem and my self-confidence rocking my ball. So yeah.
So you flipped that thing. You owned it. You flipped that thing. And so speak on that if anyone's out there that may be transitioning the trend to how do you just do it? How do you just do it and embrace it?
Yeah, you just have to, just one day you have to, you remember that song India Arie, I'm not my hair.
I'm not my hair, right.
I'm not my hair. So what I did was I just took the time and just said, hey, I need to see what I look like. I want to see what Toya looked like. So I just took it off and I just embraced it because this is a process that I was going through and I had to embrace it in order for me to even heal. I couldn't be in denial. I could not walk this walk and have faith and confidence in what God is putting me through, and I'm still hiding. So I had to walk this thing out boldly and bravely. Even for my children, I have to be strong for them. That's how I did it. I thought about them. I got to be strong for them, even if I'm bald. So I got to understand that I have to explain to them what's going on, but mama's still pretty. Mama's still fighting. Mama's still strong, So that's when I decided that I wanted to rock my ball because of my children.
Wow. I'm so glad that you touched on that because I just know women have a hard time of letting the hair go, letting that hair thing go. I mean, I probably would be different because I like short hair and I've been wanting to go bald, right? So, but I know that that's a big factor for a lot of women losing their hair, and especially like you said, you had long hair. Yeah, you had long hair, so it was like that's who you felt like you were. That was a part of who you are. So take me through, you've gotten your hair off, you've gone through this whole journey of breast cancer. You're now 6 years.
6 years.
6 years, to God
6
be the
years.
glory.
To God
You're
be the
now
glory.
6 years cancer free.
Free.
Tell me now, because I always believe we live life moving forward, but we reflect back and are able to really look back on some things. So if you look back now, what do you see now that God was saying to you?
Well, what I see is like you said earlier that God, like I'm somebody to God. Like God really loves me. Like He left me here for a purpose, for no reason. And it's not just for myself. I'm not here for myself. I'm not here uh, for anything but to glorify God. I am His vessel. So when He left me here, it made me realize that God can use me. And I'm here to help somebody else through the process. And yes, to let them know that you can feel what you feel, do what you do, be transparent. Like, we need to stop trying to act like we got it all together, because we don't. We don't have it all together all the time. Sometimes you want to kick, scream, cry, punch the wall, all that. And you still are a woman of faith. You still believe in God. You still have access to him, but you still feel. We still are a part of this world. So with that being said, it's that I realized that God is somebody, and God loves me to make me somebody too. So
Yeah, you are somebody because, like I said, there are so many dynamics to your story. The
mhm,
fact that you get this in a dream, you don't have a lump,
mhm,
your doctor tells you that that's not breast cancer because that hurts. You would know it would hurt.
mhm.
I know you want to hurt him or her or
I,
whoever.
it was a him. Yes, I
Okay, I
did. I
know you
want them.
wanted to really
Mhm,
get him,
I sure did.
but that lets me know. But I'm grateful because even in your rebellion, defiance, you
Mhm,
still stay true to God and
mhm,
press through in spite of how you felt.
mhm,
But you came through kicking and screaming. You came through here kicking and screaming like, okay,
mhm.
God. And you eventually, you just had to surrender.
Look, I
Okay.
just had to surrender. Mhm,
Eventually, you just had to surrender. And so that speaks volumes
mhm,
about, yes, that your life has purposes. And I'm sure that even now, when you go through anything in life, that's probably your reminder.
mhm.
If I got through that, wait a minute,
Mhm. I can get
I
through.
can get through anything.
Mhm,
And so you got through that. To God be the glory in spite of all of that, but I do know that I've seen you, I've watched you grow, and I see the woman even throughout all of that you have become and still continue to become. And so a year after you finish, this right here was birth. Yeah, I got my book. Yeah, I got my book, The Pink Experience. And when I looked at it, I was amazed because even you didn't even have a clue what you were writing back then as how profound it would be right now.
no.
Now, I want you now to what's the pink experience? Because it has a deeper meaning even now. 'Cause it's amazing. Okay, because as an author, sometimes when you write stuff in the beginning, and
Mhm,
then as you live through the whole thing with God, you thought God had you writing one thing, and it's like, wait a
mhm,
minute. So
mhm,
now that you are 6 years in, you wrote this a year after.
mhm.
Define what this pink experience means right now, because this is powerful.
So what happened was, when I started going through, God told me to write, to journal, whatever I was feeling that day, whatever I was feeling. It might not have been every day, but whatever I was feeling, whatever He put on my heart, if I was mad, if I was afraid, if I was scared, if I was encouraged, if I was having a good day, whatever I was feeling, He told me to write it. So that's what happened with the pink experience. This is and then in this book, I wanted to look like a tornado, because in the storm, we all go through storms. And as you see, some of the they actually are pink bunnies, but they look like breast cancer ribbon. But in the storm, you see some are falling out. So even in the storm, you're gonna come out. So this pink experience, it was just my journal. It's just my published journal when I was going through breast cancer, how I was feeling, what I was feeling. Even when I was, you see my short hair, I finally embraced it. Just telling people that God is real. God is talking to you, and sometimes you need to just listen. And if you listen, you can escape a bunch of problems that you probably did not know was even in front of you. So, yep, that's what the pink experience was about. It was just what I was going through during that time, what I was feeling, um, what I needed to do, even, during my confusion states, denial states, whatever I was going through, I just wrote it.
But that's the power of it, because you just wrote the guide to a breast cancer survivor right here.
Wow.
You just wrote a guide. So somebody could literally, and I want you all to get her book, The Pink Experience. Where can they get this book?
They can get it. They can either inbox me, Dr. Toya or Toya Richmond Spencer. I have some on hand. This is year 5 actually, but it still is sought after. People still ask me about it. So you can either inbox me and I have some on hand and I can ship them to you, or you can go on Amazon. They are on Amazon. There are $15.
So God always has a greater plan, but it's always about obedience. When God tells you to do something, you have to move, regardless if you understand it, because it doesn't make sense. See, he told you to journal because here's a guide. Somebody who's going through breast cancer, you was the one who had the defiant attitude, a woman of faith. All of that is in the book. So if somebody wants to read this and if they were doing the same thing, they would be like, oh my God. So I am normal.
I'm not by myself.
Okay, so I am normal. This is normal what I'm feeling. So see, you didn't get the magnitude of how powerful your book even is now than it was back then. And so I thank you for your obedience, because obedience is what opens up so many blessings. Obedience to God. You have to, when he says move, you move. You don't, even when you don't understand it, because here's the reality. It ain't even about you. See, God always has a greater plan. So he uses our lives for his glory, but it's usually to reach others. And he's always about bringing others closer to him. And so what I see in the Pink Experience is a woman of faith who was just like any other woman, that because people seem to think women of faith, oh, they don't go through. Yes, they do.
Yes, they do.
You go through hurts, you go through pains. But what I saw is that God allowed your experiences as a guide that can now relate to anybody that could be going through something right now. Because if they read this book, they would relate. If they were the one who got a bad attitude, they would be able to say, oh, okay, that's okay. That's okay if I have a bad attitude. But they would see, because he told you to put it down step by step. Every thought that you thought, every feeling, it was not just, we don't ever understand the why exactly then. Oh, but God.
But God.
As you see it come to pass later, things really began to unfold in a major way. So, and at first I couldn't even find my book. That's the funny part.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I got it. You didn't know I was going to pop up with it.
No, that impressed me. But listen, I want to tell people this too. When you say obedience and when God tell you to do something, this book, at the time when I got this book published, I was unemployed. I was not working. So I did an interview for a friend of mine. His name is Derek Tennille, and he was just starting his publishing company. And I did an interview for him he wanted to interview some breast cancer survivors. And so I was like, okay. So I was telling him about the journal I wrote. And he said, you wrote a journal about how you felt every day during breast cancer? And I said, yeah, I wrote a journal. He said, what do you think about publishing it? I said, my journal? And he said, yeah. I said, well, I'm not working, Derek, and da 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 da. He said, you ain't got to worry about nothing. He published this book as a gift to me. Everything in here, he published it. He got the ISBN number. He did the cover. He did the back. He did all of it, and was a blessing. So when you're obedient to what God is saying, this is the blessing that comes out of it.
There are blessings attached to obedience.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it unlocks it all. And so but I'm grateful. I'm so I found my book. I got my book. I told her yesterday, I don't know where that book, and I didn't see God, and it was like within my reach. So that was God. So it will be for my glory, God, and it is for His glory. And
Mm-hmm.
so tell us what you got coming up. What projects are you working on as we wrap this up? You working on anything for breast cancer in your
Um,
area?
so actually, I have what is called the Pink Box Initiative, and it's where people will inbox me and tell me about a breast cancer survivor or a breast cancer patient. And what I do is I wrap up goodies, a journal, breast cancer ribbons, bracelets, pins, T-shirts, whatever I can get a hold to, and I send it to them. It's in the box. It's a pink box with a big, a pretty pink bow, and I sent it to them. This is just to encourage them, to make them feel good, and things of that nature. I also have this month I'm trying to do a glam makeover for a breast cancer survivor or a breast cancer patient. My daughter donated a wig. She hand stitched the wig for me. She donated that. I have a makeup artist that will do their makeup, and I also have a hairstylist that's going to style the wig for them. So I have that actually, and then I have my talk show on first and third Thursdays called the Kitchen Conversations,
Okay.
and we talk about everything. We talk about real issues, uh, real talk based on real issues, based on the Word of God. So that's what I got coming up now.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm excited for you, and I'm glad to see that you are doing purpose work. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
that's always a joy to see see purpose work. And so,
Mm-hmm.
as we wrap this up, what do you have to say to every man out there? Because men have breast cancer too. Every man and
Mm-hmm.
woman about the importance. What message would you like to leave?
I would like to leave that. Make sure you get checked. I mean, it doesn't have to just be in October because, like I told you, I got diagnosed in March. So make sure you get your mammograms. Make sure you be your own health advocate. Even though, like in the beginning of my story, the doctor told me was nothing wrong with me, and if I was not persistent enough, then, like I told you, this conversation would be totally different right now. You have to be your own health advocate. You have to make sure you check in yourself daily, and you have to make sure you're getting those mammograms every year. Even if you're a man, especially if you're a man and you feel a lump, make sure you get that check.
Yes, so you've heard it. Oh wow, it's been such a pleasure. So our goal is to bring awareness because early detection is
Save lives.
key.
Mm-hmm.
It saves lives, being preventative. So ladies, please, I beg you every time I come up here, please, if you have not gotten your mammograms done, make sure you're doing that. If
Mm-hmm.
breast cancer runs in your family, you should be starting at age 35. If
Mm-hmm.
not, by 40s, you should be having regular every single year. You should be having a mammogram done, doing self checks in the bath, in the shower, so you can feel so that if you feel something off, please go get it checked. Please go get it
Absolutely.
checked.
Mm-hmm.
And then men, if you feel anything, my father, it started as a little bitty bump. Get that checked. Go to the doctor. Don't hold it. But we want to make sure that we bring awareness. And like she said, not just October, because it's just the month that's set aside for breast cancer,
Mm-hmm.
but you got to continue this on throughout the whole entire year, not just October. So make sure that you are getting those mammograms done.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have the insurance, on one of my lives, there should be information with Stephanie. If she doesn't have it up there, she'll make sure it's up there. Um, where you can go, where you can go and get that, because I want to make sure that everybody has the information
Mm-hmm.
that they need. Because I know that that's something sometimes that people won't go to the doctor because they
Yeah.
don't have coverage or insurance, and then they'll say,
Mm-hmm.
"Well, I didn't have insurance. I didn't have." Well, you have resources, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And so we do have all of these beautiful women that have been sharing. Stephanie A. Turner was with us last week. Now with Toya. Meet us here on Thursday. We have another special guest, Latoya Dotson. So I'm not going to get into her story right now. But you got to come back. You got to come back, but you got to bring somebody as we close out Breast Cancer Month with these amazing stories and testimonies. And we just want this to be a blessing to bless somebody, and hopefully, and it does help somebody, and that it ignites you to get those mammograms done and get checked. See, y'all, Toya got a positive attitude now. Ain't God good?
Ain't good. I told you, God work wonders. I tell you.
Oh, he's a wonder making. He's a miracle worker. Hey, hey. Look, won't he do it?
Won't he do it? Well, I'm a witness, I tell you.
So you can close us out as we close out. Any final words?
Get tested. Make sure you get tested. Make sure that you listen to the voice of God. And the Holy Spirit. He is your comfort keeper. He is going to guide you. So make sure you listen.
All right, y'all heard her. Get tested. Get checked. We'll see y'all again on Thursday. Thanks again for joining. And don't forget, if you don't have Pink Experience, make sure you get your book, Pink Experience, and follow Toya. Go ahead and give us all your social media handles.
I am Dr. Toya on all my social media handles.
I am Dr. Toya.
I am Dr. Toya on all my social media. And my website is www.toyaspencer.org.
All right, y'all. Make sure you follow her. Thanks so much for joining.
Thank you.
Until Thursday. Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye. Hold on.